Hello there, I'm Adrian and welcome to Jack of Trades. In this tutorial, we will cover the following steps: setting up Vite, setting up TailWind CSS with a React app, installing additional libraries such as Axios, React Router, and Local Forage, creating a login component, working with environment variables in Vite, building a sidebar navigation, building a top bar navigation. Okay, so our goal in this tutorial is to show you how to consume a Laravel REST API using a client web application built with React. We will use Vite as our build tool, TailWind CSS for styling, and various libraries such as Axios and React Router to help us build a robust and user-friendly front end. Please note that we will not be building a full-blown application in this tutorial. Rather, we will focus on demonstrating how to communicate with the REST API from a React client. So let's get started. Vite, it is actually a modern front-end build tool that is fast and lightweight. So to do this, we will use npm command to create a new Vite project. So open up your terminal and enter the following command. I already have here an open terminal where I've put my where I'm planning to put my code. Okay, so first, if you don't have npm node.js installed on your computer, you have to go to the nodejs.org website and just download the latest version of the Node.js, and then the npm command will be available for you. Okay, so now we'll just copy and paste this command. Let's check what version that we have here for our node. So we have 9.2.0. okay, so let's just copy and paste this command here and paste it in our directory. Alright, so this will create a new Vite project in the current directory. So but what is Vite exactly? So again, Vite is a build tool that is designed specifically for modern JavaScript projects such as those using React, Vue, or other frameworks. So it uses a new approach to building and bundling front-end applications, resulting in a faster builds and faster development. Okay, so now I'm gonna name this project React Frontend. It's too long. Let's have this. Let's have this instead, and we're gonna use React, then JavaScript to make it simpler. All right, so it's gonna tell us to cd on this specific directory. So we're gonna cd the React front-end directory, and then run npm install. Alright, it's gonna take a while depending on your internet connection, but yeah, let's just wait for it. Alright, that's finished. So I'm gonna type in code dot to open up my VS Code. You can use any IDE that you have there on your computer, but in this tutorial I'm gonna be using VS Code. Alright, so the next step would be setting up TailWind CSS. Okay, so we will set up TailWind CSS, which is a popular CSS framework for building responsive user interface design. So to set it up with a React app, just go to TailWind CSS documentation. I'm gonna paste a specific link here. Don't worry, all the relevant links are in the description below. So let's go here, let's open up a new tab, and then Just copy and paste that. Alright, so to get TailWind working in our project, we must follow these specific instructions here. Okay, so the first one would be, we're gonna skip this step because we've already downloaded our React front end via npm. So we started our project using Vite, so we're not gonna be needing this. This is actually for the Create React app, but it still works with regardless of whether you're using Vite or something. Okay, npm install. Yeah, let's copy and paste this. Okay, let's go back to our terminal here and then just copy and paste that. Why isn't working? Okay, let me do that again. Copy. Alright, there you go. So if you notice here, it's actually gonna build things here. It's gonna download the TailWind CSS PostGIS auto prefixer. Alright, so the next one would be this. On the other hand, we could also use the built-in terminal for VS that is available in VS Code. So you can just go here and then new terminal, just click that. So make sure that you are in the React in the root folder of your project. So before you run the command, so npx tailwind. Alright, it's gonna create the config files that are related to Tailwind. So yep, the next one would be this one. Let's just copy and paste this. It's pretty straightforward. You just have to follow along. You don't need to be an expert of this. Just follow along and then you're good to go. All right, now where are we? So the next thing that we wanted to do is find the index.css file under the src folder. Let me just zoom this in so that you'll see it clearly. Okay, so we're gonna find that and then just copy and paste this code here. Gonna go back to our code and then let's find that. Where is that? This one, index.css. Now we're not gonna be needing these guys here. These are just boilerplates. We're gonna replace this with the Tailwind because we're gonna use Tailwind here. All right, so what else? I think, yeah. All right, I think that's all of it. Wait, let me just npm run dev this to run our local server. Now if you're wondering where to find this specific script, you're just gonna click this package.json file. It's gonna show you this part right here where it says scripts, and since we're using npm, you just type in the command npm run then this specific script here. So remember that we're typing this npm run dev. So this is actually the command that is read here in the package.json. Okay, so there you go. So it says here that we need to open this specific URL in our browser. So I'm just gonna control click this. Well, actually it's gonna open up my Google Chrome, but I'm using and since I'm using Firefox, let me just open the one that we had earlier and open up a new tab here. and load the URL that we just copied, and there you go. Notice that it's kind of like the design is destroyed, but don't worry about that. We're just gonna replace the all the content that we see here anyways. So this one, just gonna replace this with a blank application. Maybe just a blank div will do at the moment. Okay, let's remove this. We're not gonna be needing this also. Yep. Okay, there you go. If we go back to our browser, we're going to see a blank page. And now, since we don't need these guys anymore, let's just close this. Okay. Alright, so now that we have Vite and TailWind set up, let's install some additional libraries that we will need for our project. This includes Axios for making HTTP requests, React Router for managing routes in our application, and Localforge for storing data in the browser. So you don't need to worry about all the things that we've. You're just gonna download the things here, and it's gonna work. Okay, so I'm gonna copy and paste this one here. So we have this tutorial here. So let me zoom that in. So we're actually gonna to use React Router. To use React Router, we need to install this. We just need to copy and paste this command here, and then let's go to our VS Code, and I'm gonna need to open a new terminal here. Just gonna let this run by itself, then npm install. Alright, okay, so the next step would be creating a login component. So let's create a login component for our application. This component will allow users to log into our app using their credentials. So we have we're gonna use React Router for this. We're gonna use React Router, and yeah, there's actually the tutorial that I've opened. We're gonna be needing some of these here, but yeah, let's before we dive into this, let's create the actual login component using TailWind and using TailWind. So I also wanted to show you here how to, well, if you're new to TailWind, I wanted to show you how to do this, how to design things in TailWind, also to promote this awesome CSS framework that's really gonna help you with your projects. Alright, so okay, so what I'm planning is I wanted to have some sort of an organizing things here in our project. So I wanted to have some directories. Maybe I wanted a directory for all the components that I wanted to create. So just to keep them in one place, and also I'm gonna need to have another folder for the pages of the React application, which we'll create later, and the routes folder where the configuration of the routes lives. Okay, but you're not gonna have to worry about that. We will do that later. Right now, let's focus on creating the login component. Okay, Alright, so let's close this up. Also this one, and we're gonna focus our attention to this app, to this specific file rather. Okay, now I'm gonna make this screen a little bit. I'm gonna separate them just for you to see this in action. All right. Okay. Now what I'm planning is I wanted to create a separate component for the login component. Now I wanted this to be named login. Alright, login.jsx. Okay. So the next thing would be, let me just make this bigger actually. So I'm gonna show you something. There is actually a VS Code extension that I've downloaded previously, which is, I can't seem to remember the name, but I'm just gonna show you here all the extensions that I have. You can pause the video. You can pause the video so that you can copy all the extensions that I have here. So you can remember this. This one is for the PHP side, because we will be dealing with the previous we will open our old code for the PHP backend later. You're gonna need this. This is the best that I ever had ever since the VS Code was introduced to me. So this is for the PHP because yeah, if you notice, this extension right here has all-in-one, oh no, not this one, all-in-one composer. I'm referring to this one actually, not this one. So this extension right here, the PHP from DevSense, it has all the PHP tools that you're gonna need in your project. So the IntelliSense, the debug, the formatter, code lenses, yeah, and all the things that you're probably gonna need. So it has all these things, and it's also gonna install some of these extension. And yeah, you're gonna need all of this in your project. Maybe not the Docker. I've installed it earlier, but I'm experimenting on Docker. But the rest of them, this one, especially this one, this is the one that I use. Okay, enough of this extensions here. Just pause the video and then just download all of these. Alright, so what I wanted to do is create a new React functional component for the login, and it's gonna create for us. What I wanted to do is I wanted this login component to appear here. So let's do that. So login components, and then let's make this a little bit smaller for you to see. Alright, so we're gonna design this guy using TailWind. Okay, so well, if you're new to CSS, well, you're still gonna have to practice CSS for a bit, but yeah, it's just to know the basics. But if you're on a large scale project, there's a there's a probability that you're gonna be using some frameworks like Bootstrap, TailWind CSS to like handle the CSS for you to make your project to make you more productive and to make it more faster for you to like build the user interfaces with the CSS. It really depends upon the it really depends upon the project actually. So right now we're gonna use TailWind CSS. I'm gonna show you the cool thing about working with the TailWind CSS. Alright, so okay, let's do this. Now that we have this, what I wanted to do is I wanted to create a div for this, and I wanted this to have a grid, and then I wanted the div to have H screen, so it's gonna take the height of the browser screen actually. So it's gonna take the height. So if you notice our div here, if we put background to our div, let's say BG yellow 200, that one, if we remove that, you won't see a thing because the div doesn't have content. If you put content there, it just has its default size. So we're gonna use the H screen for this. H screen, we're gonna delete that. H screen. So what I'm planning is I wanted to have the login form at the center of the screen. So we're gonna do that. Just follow along. Okay, so I'm gonna place item center to ensure that all the items here will be at the center, and then I'm gonna default everything to text gray 500. That one. Okay, that's cool. Now I'm gonna have another div. So I'm sorry about this. I'm actually experimenting with the GitHub Copilot, and I'm really loving it. You should also try this as well. Notice the IntelliSense there, the IntelliSense that we have here, but I'm not gonna use that. Okay, so right now I'm gonna create another div, that one, and what I wanted to do is make this have this background white, and then have the shadow. Okay. And a width of 500 px. See that? It's amazing. Well, if you're doing this with CSS, you're gonna have to write a lot of these, and it's gonna take us forever to like make this happen. So with TailWind, it's gonna be easier for us. So well, this is not actually bad for an H1 because I wanted to have an H1 here actually. So let's just do that. Thanks Copilot for helping us with this. And I think I'm gonna remove this. This actually adds a margin bottom at the right after the login. So let's remove that. There you go. Well, actually, I'm gonna say login account. Just a matter of preference. Don't have to do this. And it's quite big. I don't want the 3XL, I want the 2XL only. There you go. Now that we have that, let's create the form. Let's create the actual form. And I'm gonna have this method post. All right, method post, and then class name. I wanted to make sure that all of the form fields and all of the elements inside this form tag will kind of like have one column. So I'm gonna use grid, and grid calls one to do this. Yep, you're gonna see this later. Well, actually, if I do this here, if I create something like span text, just copy and paste this, you'll notice that all the elements inside this form here actually moves from displays from top to bottom. See that? So that's what I wanted to do here. Now let's remove these guys here, and actually let's have another div here. And I also wanted to have the grid calls one, and then gap 2. Well, let's just remove the gap first. Let's try to experiment with these. Okay, so what we needed to do is the label. And yeah, thanks for the GitHub Copilot for helping us here. So let's just tab this. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. But I want this to be. You think that's good? Well, I think I don't want that. Let's just try semi-bold. It's too bold for me. And yeah, cursor pointer. Yep. I want this to have a, when I hover this, I want the hand icon to appear. No, the hand cursor rather to appear. And then the next one would be, I wanted to have an input. Let's see what Copilot suggests for us. All right, that's pretty cool. Okay, let me just make this bigger. Oh, it's too long. Let's wrap this. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, but I kind of like don't want this. Yeah, but yeah, I don't like this. Let me just remove all of these here. It's too rounded for me. I want the edgy style up, but it's just a matter of preference actually. And I don't want the border too. It's too heavy for me. Yeah, that one. Yeah, I'm also wanted to make this well, the form and the login account is too close to each other, so we're gonna need something to like remedy that. I'm gonna say also I also wanted to have a little bit of gap for all of these elements, the email and the password, so I'm gonna do that as well. Now let's remove this for now. Grid calls one. I'm gonna add an empty. Oh no, just a padding. I think the padding will do. So py10. So the py is actually it's a padding top and padding bottom here. Padding top, padding bottom. You can see that if you hover this, if you download all the extensions that I have here, you will actually see you'll actually see this actually see the, you know, the corresponding CSS for these guys. So py10 is actually padding top, padding bottom, 2.5 rem, something like that. Okay, I think that looks pretty neat for me. And yeah, border gray. I don't know. You think this is good? Let me just remove this. I don't think it's px3 actually. Alright, that looks good, at least for me. Then I'm gonna have a placeholder, enter your email, and then, yep, there you go. And yeah, the labels and the input boxes are too close to each other, so let me just put in a gap. So gap 2, there you go. Alright, so I think that looks good. And I'm gonna need something. I'm gonna need a specific error message later. So let me just error message, and I'm gonna have this error message to have a text red color. So let's have text red 500, and then let's make this smaller. So if you hover this, text SM is actually a little bit, if you want the font size to be a little bit smaller, you can use this. I think they also have, TailWind also has the text XS, that one. But right now let's just use this text SM. I think this looks good. But we're not gonna be we're not gonna display an error message for now. Okay, so the next thing that we will need to do is just copy and paste this whole thing here, the div, from the div, and then yeah, so you don't have to write all these things all yeah. Okay, it's pretty time consuming to write all of these again. So just copy and paste this password. Alright, so we're gonna need the password, and yeah, let's change this to password. Yep. So if we're building this using CSS, it's really gonna take us forever. So yeah, it's a good thing that I've introduced you to TailWind CSS, just in case you didn't have any idea what you don't have any idea what TailWind is all about. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna make you more productive. Alright, so what have we got here? I think this is close enough. Oh wait, I think these little guys here are just too close. Let's make the gap, let's make the gap wider here. So yeah, so the email, this group right here, and this group right here, let me just change this one. So this group right here is they're too close to each other. They look like they are all cramped up. So let's add in some gap here. Maybe gap 2 will do. Yeah, I think that looks good. Alright. Okay, so the one last thing that we needed to do here is add in the button. Okay, let's add the button here. Let's double enter button class name. Remember that in React you don't use the class. You don't use the class because it's a reserved keyword. You're gonna need to use the class name instead of just class. Okay? This is not like a normal HTML here. This is JSX. So yeah. Okay, so yeah, let's type in login. I'm gonna make this button right here beautiful. So I want a blue color for this because I really like blue. Visual blue. Let's pick 700. Okay, and I'm gonna need to make the text white so that we can see a little bit of contrast. There you go. And the next thing that I wanted to do is maybe add some padding at the top and the bottom. Okay, so what else? Let's make sure that the text is centered all the way. It's already centered, but I just wanted to do this. Just wanted to put text center to ensure that it's always at the center in all screens. Text center. What else? Rounded. I'm gonna make this button right here a little bit rounded, so that it's not too much edgy. Okay, so well, the most common thing that you see in buttons are the hover effect. So let's add that. So let's add hover, and then we're just gonna make this slider. We've used 700 before, so let's use 800 for the hover effect. So it's a solid change, but yeah, it looks pretty neat. Yeah, at least for me. Okay, so yeah, I think this looks good. This looks good actually. Alright, so if we make this bigger, it's actually gonna, okay, we're gonna need some more work on that, but we're not actually focusing too much on the CSS. I'm just showing you here how cool TailWind is. So you better try this. Go to their documentation and learn all. I haven't really learned all of this TailWind stuff, but just the basic ones. I promise that if you get used to it, it's really cool. It's really gonna make things faster. We're gonna continue the rest of them in the next video, so I'll see you then.